How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another segment of the Cajun Conservative Show, the second segment of the day. And I'm proud to announce to have as a guest today YouTuber and fellow conservative, Mr. Nate Savage. Nate, how you doing, sir?
All is well. All is well. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. And look, I was introduced to you probably about 2-3 weeks ago, and finally getting the chance to talk to you. Besides messaging, it's a real honor and a blessing.
I appreciate it. It's an honor and a blessing for me as well.
Yes, sir. So we're gonna start off right off the bat. You have a YouTube channel, and you sent me a video the other day, and I was real not surprised because normally when people message me videos and stuff like that, it's more in a conservative way. But you are a little different kind of conservative. You're more on the lines of Candace Owens or Terrence Williams, I say, because a lot of people when they look at conservatives, they say, oh, those evil white conservatives. But you are an African American, if you don't mind me saying that. You're an African American, and how is that being a conservative in today's world? You know, white people, they're all like, oh, look, they're conservatives, they're racist, they're bigots, they're homophobes. But when you have a black conservative, how's that is?
Well, when you think of white racist people, the racists are actually on the left. They're the ones who think black people aren't wise enough to be independent. We don't have access to the internet. You know, we don't have access to smartphones. We don't have access to the directions, how to get to the DMV. You know, if we got to stand in line and vote and stuff like that, it's like racist. So I really don't see the conservative, straight white Christian male that want you to keep your baby versus the far left males that want black people to have abortion left and right. So I see racism more on the Democratic left side than I ever seen on the right Republican side. You see what I mean?
Yeah, well, if you look into history, a lot of people don't believe me that when the Emancipation Proclamation was passed, it was a Republican president and a Republican Senate and House that went ahead and passed the Emancipation Proclamation. Not one Democrat, to my recollection, voted for that. Now, that's in the Civil War era, but throughout all the lines, your Democrat Party was against Martin Luther King because majority of the South at that time was Democrat. And it's falling into the trend today because you mentioned something about voting rights earlier. It was Chuck Schumer earlier in the week that said that all the states that are passing these new voting laws are stopping the brown and the black man or the black person from voting. And I'm like, well, what stops Nate? You're a black man. What is stopping you from voting, if you don't mind me asking?
The only thing that's stopping me, for me personally, is fake Republicans and bad Democrats are stopping me from voting a lot of times. Because just because somebody claims to be Republican, it doesn't mean they're actually conservative. And
Correct.
A conservative Republican is different from just a regular Republican. That's what stops me, But me not being there to find the DMV to get an ID or not being there to figure out where the DMV is, that's not slowing me down.
So what the media is saying that, hey, if we do voting laws where you have to show an ID and everything and that's racist, it's not stopping no one really. Because I look at it like this, Nate, if you got to go ahead and use an ID to get cigarettes or an ID to get alcohol, use an ID to get into certain places, you shouldn't have a problem showing your ID at a voting booth.
Right. They call it voter suppression. It makes no sense. I really don't understand how a lot of black people just kind of go along with it. It's really an insult to black people. It's calling black people, it's basically saying you're too dumb as a black person to purchase or figure out how to get an ID. It makes no sense at all. I really don't understand the whole voter suppression argument or debate that's going on in the country right now.
Well, I think of it as like this. This is what they use. The evil white man goes ahead and has all the rights in the world. They can go to a voting booth and vote without an ID or whatever. But, black people are suppressed into doing what the white man wants. So if we tell them they got to vote, use ID, which there's nothing that stops them. I look at it like this. There's not one law in our Constitution that benefits white people over black people. You get what I'm saying?
No. I agree.
The voting suppression, they use it as the white man is trying to stop black people from voting, and that's not true. White people have to show their IDs just like a black person has to show their ID, or Hispanic. I think it's more of a fraud line than anything, but you're right. It does make, and I hate to say it, does make like the black communities too dumb to go ahead and find a DMV to go get a license or a voting card.
Yes, they're calling black people dumb in a politically correct way.
So I got a question. You mentioned like that. So you're not for the woke culture or the political correct side of life right now.
No, because we turned away from God with the new woke culture.
I agree 100%, my brother. I believe that we're turning away, like Pride Month right now, and celebrating the same sex agenda. It's totally against what the Bible says.
Absolutely. Martin Luther King wouldn't be accepted in today's society when he say, judge people off the content of their character and not their color.
I agree with you on that. Now, I got a question. What made you start, I was supposed to ask you that at the beginning. We got into a whole conversation. What made you say, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel and exposing the left from a black man's perspective?
What made me start it is I always talk about it. I always say, why is black people following this far left agenda that's basically an anti-black agenda and supporting Black Lives Matter? And then I was like, I always talk to all my friends, family about this stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I should just start a YouTube platform where I could really express myself, because when I talk to most black people, they just cut me off, call me an Uncle Tom, they call me a coon. They don't understand where I'm coming from because it doesn't fit the narrative that us as black people have been brainwashed to believe about America our whole life. So I understand it because I was there before, where I thought that the cops was white supremacists, and I used to think that the cops was out to get black people. And I used to think the white man was against me. And then I started listening to like Fox News and listening to like Bill O'Reilly. And then when Trump started running, and I'm saying, wait a second, I've never been harassed by the cops. No white person ever just pulled up on me and say, we don't want you in our town, N-word or anything like that. So then I just started seeing stuff from a different perspective. But mainly to answer your question, the reason I started my YouTube channel is because this is what I talk about all the time, even when I'm not on YouTube.
Hey, and that's what we need to do as conservatives. I don't know if you ever heard Rush Limbaugh, but Rush said that's to convince people of the ways that the left is evil, and that the left, and I'm not talking about people that believe in the left, I'm talking about the Democrat Party in general. That's the leadership, because you listen to all these people that are in Washington right now talking about passing laws that rechange our whole country is hurting us. But Rush said that's the best way. Talking to your neighbors, talking to your friends, talking to anyone that's going to listen. And I think that's what's good about you and I. We started this platform to expose the left for what they are. And this is like having conversations with people and just making them aware, because there's a lot of uninformed voters, and that's Republican and Democrat.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And that I like Rush Limbaugh. He speaks the truth, man. I like him. I love Ben Shapiro, Jesse Lee Peterson, Officer Tatum. These are all good conservative people that really do a good job breaking down what's really going on in the world.
And they don't hold any punches either.
No, and you shouldn't. And honestly, I hate to say it, but it's white people fault for being afraid of, to be called the races or anything. Like, in my opinion, white people need to speak out the same way I'm speaking out, because really, this is a far white liberal agenda that's being pushed on America, and then the radical blacks are just going along with it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's more on the lines of, and look, this is coming from a white man where we're so afraid to. Well, I'm not, because when people call me racist, I say prove it. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because but I see that in a lot of the culture. It's just not in politics. It's in the church as well. Because I'm a minister and I see both sides of it. They don't want to offend nobody, and they don't want to say something that's going to hurt somebody. But sometimes the truth hurts, Nate.
Black people are the most racist people you'll ever meet. I mean, when you think about it, you hear black excellence and all of this stuff. You're not allowed to say white excellence, or you're not allowed to wear a T-shirt that says "I heart white women," because that would be racist. But black people, we could say black power all day. White people can never say white power or anything like that. It's really a culture war against the straight white Christian conservative man.
Right, and look, let's use for the terms Black Lives Matter. If we go ahead and say all lives matter, which as a Christian that we both are, and we agree with that, that all lives matter in the sight of God, all lives should matter. We are called racist because we use the term all lives matter, that we demeaning the Black Lives Matter movement. But Black Lives Matter as an organization is a Marxist communist organization that is not looking out for the black man, is not looking out for the black woman, is not looking out for the black child, is looking to pass socialist agendas.
Black Lives Matter is a racist, Marxist, terrorist organization. And I was talking to one of my friends who's a cop in North Carolina about this the other night. Honestly, I think Black Lives Matter is the biggest threat to the country, because unless I'm wrong, I don't know of, in American history, when have the U.S. government actually got behind a terrorist organization. This is the first time I ever seen something like this happen. And they got a lot of Black Lives Matter. It's not just like a little small thing. They're huge. They are a huge organization that has a lot of political power and political control over the country. And it's a really dangerous group. And they're anti-men. And when you read the website, it has nothing to do with the straight black father. You understand?
Yeah, well, they're trying to destroy the nuclear family, as they say.
Yes. I don't understand how a group that radical is being backed by the U.S. government, and black people are just blindly supporting it. It's an LGBTQ group, and it's anti-American, it's anti-God. Black Lives Matter. The title, I guess, they're genius marketing with the title.
Right.
That's the only thing, because it's like, if you say, do Black Lives Matter, and you believe Black Lives Matter, and if you say no, then automatically you sound like a racist.
Right.
But it's like, I do agree that Black Lives Matter, but I don't agree with what the organization stands for.
And that's why I think a lot of people call it BLM, to abbreviate it. But like you said, the same. Look, I don't have no problem with the phrase Black Lives Matter. But like I said, they shouldn't have a problem with the phrase "all lives matter" or "all white lives matter," because they do. I feel this is what they're doing, Nate. They're taking systemic racism and moving it from back in the day when it was whites on blacks to blacks on whites.
Well, Black Lives Matter, the whole organization, is basically they're pimps, and it's built off of a lie. Cops aren't hunting and killing down black people.
No, they're not.
That's just not happening. More white people, armed and unarmed, justified and unjustified, get killed by the police than white people per year since American history. It never was a year where more black people died than white people by the hands of the police, justified or unjustified. So, if anything, maybe white people should be the ones out here protesting against the police.
Well,
Not that that would make any sense neither, but
no, it wouldn't. And like I was about to say, there is some white people that go ahead because they call us. And look, like you, Nate, they will say that you are not woke. You're not, you're not open minded, and you're not, get what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree that I'm not woke, and I don't like that term because woke means the definition of woke. It means that you recognize that the cops are racist. You recognize that this is a racist country. That's the modern day version of woke. I'm conservative. I'm not woke.
Yeah,
you understand? I don't care about that term. I hate the term woke.
Right. Well,
because I know what it means.
Well, it's doing everything like the book of Isaiah says. Isaiah said that there's going to come a time where they're going to call good evil and evil good. And I think we're at that point right now where a lot of stuff that they're promoting, the Democrat Party and the woke community and the BLMs, what they're doing, they're promoting wrongdoings and glorifying it. My buddy Scott Ford said it that day. He don't like them making saints out of criminals. And that's what a lot of these crimes are doing. A lot of these shootings do. They were criminals, but because they got shot by a white cop, all of a sudden they're saints and they're martyrs for the cause.
Absolutely. And in my state that I live in now, they built a statue. I don't know if you heard about it, or I don't know if you ever heard of this guy named George Floyd.
Right.
He was an unemployed drug addict, and now he's the face of black culture, and he's being celebrated as a great hero, a hero of American history. And they built a statue of him in Newark, New Jersey.
Wow.
And he was an unemployed drug addict. Why would we celebrate him?
Because
it tells you a lot about a culture. It tells you a lot about a culture by who that culture idolized. Every other culture has to be laughing at black people. And it's so racist that white liberals to the step, because white liberals are the ones who's in charge of it. They are the real racists, like I said earlier in this conversation. They're like, black people, this is y'all hero. George Floyd is who y'all should idolize. And black people just go along with it. It's so racist that white liberals is actually using George Floyd as a symbolization of black excellence. It's anti-black completely. This guy was an unemployed drug addict. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. To agree with you on that, look, Nancy Pelosi called him. Remember, she was talking. She said, "Thank you, George Floyd, for giving you life for a free cause." I don't think George Floyd was looking to die that day either. That's what they're acting like it was staged, like it was planned, whatever. But I don't think this man went into that store believing he was going to die that day. He wasn't planning on being a martyr. I don't think he wanted to be a martyr.
No, I mean, we care about his life more than he cared about his own. He has a long history of just terrorizing the black community. He doesn't have a history of building up and promoting any type of black excellence. Did you even hear about this statue that New Jersey, which has nothing to do with George Floyd?
No,
George Floyd has nothing to do with
I know they put up some. I know they put up some some murals or whatever they call that and stuff. I never heard of a statue, but that just praising criminals to sainthood, lifting them up to sainthood.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, this is our new America, and it's a push out of Antifa, Black Lives Matter. This is why I think Black Lives Matter is the biggest threat to America. I know people talk about China. We can talk about the Middle East and terrorist attacks and Russia this, Russia that. The biggest threat to America is Black Lives Matter, in my humble opinion.
And now, Nate, don't get mad at me. I got to quote the president, though. Didn't the president say the greatest threat in this, this nation today is climate change? And 3 weeks later, 3 weeks earlier, he said it was white supremacy.
Well, he gets the award, Joe Biden. He's the biggest race hustler that I ever seen in my life. More bigger than Al Sharpton or anybody I ever seen hustle racism. He actually hustled racism to get in the White House.
Right.
He don't even like Kamala Harris. They don't even like each other. He clearly used her as a symbol to black people to get votes. And nobody don't even rock with Kamala Harris anyway. She didn't even do well in the primary. So Joe Biden is a race hustler. When it comes to race, we can't believe nothing he say. He used to openly say in public, we can't have any more N-words getting in power and all of this stuff. He was completely anti-black back in the day. However, YouTube suppressed the algorithm and take a lot of the stuff that the rhetoric he said previously. They took it off. You can't even find anything bad about Joe Biden on YouTube. And they cover him up. They're protecting this man. He's a race hustler.
Yep.
He doesn't give a damn about black people.
I agree. I agree with you. Is how they say that a politician's best friend. Hey, just to say something to get votes is sad. So Nate, go ahead. Go ahead.
Joe Biden, you can't even find all the videos of some sniffing little girls' hair and rubbing on little girls and touching on people's wives and stuff. You can't even find that on YouTube. They took that away because it's all controlled. YouTube is controlled by liberals. Yes. So they're protecting his image.
They're protecting him. I never seen, a president get this so much coverage of trying to make him look good. Then you had the former president where 95% of the coverage on news networks were all bad. It's a double standard. They're showing what's their side. They lean more to the left, and there's not more. There's all the way to the left and try to destroy the right.
Yeah, the fallen messiah, which is Obama, they actually was more critical of him than they are on Biden.
And
the media that.
And it is sad. It's sad. Nate, we got a couple of more seconds left, and I want to go ahead and ask you, tell my audience about your YouTube channel, where they can find you at, and when do you drop videos and everything like that, my brother?
Well, right now I try to drop like 2 videos a week or so, and I'm going to start hosting interviews where I'm going to interview people that disagree with me. But you can find my YouTube channel on Savage 5050, Savage 5050. I talk conservative values. I talk about the straight white Christian conservative man being under attack. I talk about Black Lives Matter being a racist Marxist terrorist organization. Or you can follow me on Instagram at Nate_Super Savage.
Hey, and look, I'm following you, man. I'm a subscriber of your shows, and I really enjoy. I didn't get to watch the last video, but I'm gonna be listening to it very soon. So, but look, Nate, thank you for coming on today, man. I appreciate it, and getting a different perspective. A lot of people will say, "Well, Isaac, you're a white conservative Christian male, and your white people you all think the same." It's kind of It's kind of good to get a different side of this issue from another conservative that's a different color.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the way it's supposed to be, man. Black, white, we all supposed to be American. I don't care about this whole black culture thing. I care about American culture.
Right. It's all for the good of the country.
Right. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me. It meant a lot. I was surprised when you hit me up. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, well, like I said, man, when you messaged me, I looked at the video. I was like, let me check this out. And then when we started talking on Messenger, I said, yeah, I got to get this guy on as soon as possible. And this was the week to come on, man. Somebody need to hear this, to let freedom reign. That's how I see it.
I agree.
All right, Nate, we appreciate it, my brother.
All right, I'll talk to you shortly.
Yes, sir. That was Nate Savage. He has a YouTube channel. Go look him up. Nate Savage 5050, a black conservative man that goes ahead and tells you the truth and a different side. Like I said, he lives in New Jersey, folks. I got to pray for this man because that's a blue state. I'm a conservative in a conservative state. It's kind of easy around here, but we're going to keep him in prayer. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the flag. That's right. Celebrities want to go ahead and change our flag. They say it's racist, and they got a bad history. So we need to change the whole thing. We'll be right back.